What's good, everybody? Israel, and I'll come back at you on another video. So this video right here is going to be one of the most powerful videos that I record, and this video is actually inspired by one of Jim Carrey's graduation speeches. So I don't think it was actually him graduating, right? I think it was him speaking to a graduating class as a guest speaker, giving them, words of wisdom, words to live by. And the title of this video is this, right? And this came from his speech. He says, "The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is." And this is 100% true, 100% correct. First and foremost, when we talk about valuable currency, most people think that money is the most valuable currency because in the physical world, right, you can have money and money gets you a lot of things. You can pay for food, pay for material things, pay for trips, vacation, stay at nice places, eat wherever you want, do all these things, right? Pay for products and services from other people, right? So people think because money serves as a currency that it is the most valuable currency, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Money is not the most valuable currency, and let me tell you why. First and foremost, there was a time when humans lived and operated before money, right? Because we as humans, we're the ones that created money, right? Back then, there was a bartering system, right? Where people would trade with one another. One person would have ice, another person would have salt, someone else would have meat, another person would have textiles, right? And each would trade with one another in order to ensure that everyone had what they needed. The problem with that system, though, is that it was very inefficient, right? Which is why someone decided to create money to help simplify the process, right? And so money essentially works almost as a certificate, right, of proof that you've delivered value to someone else. So rather than you having to trade your salt to get ice, then trade the ice for meat, right, you would just essentially sell your salt for money, right? And then you have this piece of paper, this bill, or these coins that you could then use to purchase whatever it is that you wanted, right? It helps simplify the process entirely. Now, a lot of people think that money is the most valuable currency, but that is not true. The reason why money is not the most valuable currency is because, first and foremost, money can always be printed, right? Pretty much all the governments across the world have their own mint, which is a facility that prints money, right? So these, of course, the governments always want to keep printing money so that there's money in circulation, right? Physical money. And how can something that can be replicated, duplicated, printed be so valuable, right? If something can be replaced, then it shouldn't be as valuable as people think, right? And the funny part is about money is that most of the money in the world is not actually physical, right? I want to say about 7 or 8% of all the money that's in circulation right now is actually printed and physical, but the other 92% or so plus, that money's digital. There's just numbers on the screen, right? It's just banks that they would pull up a bank statement or whatever, or companies, they will look at their financial statement and it'll literally be numbers on a piece of paper, right? For like your statements, or just digits on a screen. And guess what? You can always add more digits on a screen. You can always move the number higher and higher and add more comments, right? So is it really that real if most of the money that exists are just within computer systems and are digital? They're just numbers on a screen. Is it really as real as people think? Does that make it the most valuable currency if at any point we can just add more of it or create more of it, right? Or money can be discontinued because there have been some economies out there that would have a certain currency and then the economy would crash and then they will discontinue that currency and adopt a new currency for them to use. So then the old currency that once had value suddenly doesn't have any value anymore because it's no longer recognized as a form of payment by the government, right? So that's an example where money can instantly be worthless. So how can money be the most valuable currency? And once again, it can't be the most valuable currency because there's been plenty of people who are very wealthy, that millionaires, billionaires, have so much money, and yet they're still unhappy. So it can't be the most valuable currency. It can't be the most valuable thing in the world. So what is the most valuable thing? And I'm here to tell you that you are the most valuable thing. People are the most valuable thing. The reason why people are the most valuable thing is because all of these material things that exist in the world, on the planet, this can all be replaced. If anything happens to your car, it can be replaced. If anything happens to your home, it doesn't matter if you paid $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, right? that home can always be rebuilt. The blueprint exists somewhere, or someone can create a new blueprint and build that home from the ground up, right? If anything happens to someone's diamond watch, it can always be remade, right? You have diamonds that are now being lab grown, right? Like these things that people consider to be expensive because they cost something, because they have a price tag attached to it, people were led to believe that these are the things that are actually the most expensive in the world, when in actuality it's very cheap because it can be replaced. The actual most expensive things are you, is you as a person. And the reason why is because out of the billions of people who live now and who have lived previously, none of them have ever been a carbon copy, a one-to-one copy of you. None of the billion people that lived prior, and none of the billions of people that are going to live after you, right? There has never been a person that has been identical to you, that has the same personality, the same behavior, the same thought process, the same imagination, the same creativity, right? We are all, even if we're all humans and there's 8 billion of us sharing the planet, each and every one of us are unique. It's just, the problem is that the things that we were given to us for free, which are our mind, our hearts, the love that we have, the passion that we share, the pride that we have, right? All of these intangibles, that is what's actually valuable. That is what actually is important. And yet most people don't place value or emphasis in that because they were given to us for free. Because each and every person has one, right? That everyone has a brain and a heart and all these things, right? And so we place little emphasis on it because we were given to it for free. It was our birthright. Even though that is what's actually important and expensive, because if anything were to happen to us, we can never be replaced. So in Jim Carrey's speech, he goes on to say that throughout his life journey, he eventually uncovered his purpose for his life, and his purpose is to free other people of concern, because he realized that in his life growing up that there were a lot of, challenges that him and his family had to face, that they faced a lot of concern, and that, delivered them uncertainty with their life, and it just made things challenging. And because of that, he Jim Carrey wanted to free other people of concern. He wanted to make other people really enjoy their life and appreciate their life and the moment. And so that became his purpose, and he utilized his talent to work towards that purpose, right? He used his talent of stand-up comedy and being an actor, right, in movies, to then work towards that purpose of alleviating or freeing people of concern. And that is what ultimately allowed him to have what most people would consider to be a successful career, right? Jim Carrey said himself, he said during the graduation speech, he says, "Look at me. I'm at the top of the mountain, and that's what I did," right? And he gave that as words of wisdom to those students, to let them know that life is all about serving other people, right? If you look at your surroundings, if you look at everything that you have access to right now, all of these material things, all these creations, they were created by other people. And so these creations that were made by other people, no smarter than you, these are the things that help shape your reality and your world, right? Someone invented this pen. I didn't invent this pen. Someone else invented this pen. And because we have pens, it shaped how we write and communicate, right? Someone invented this water bottle that I purchased, and now I can drink water and effectively stay hydrated. Someone invented this notebook, right? Someone invented this pair of headphones, right? Everything. Someone invented the car you drive. Someone invented this camera that I'm speaking into. Someone invented the iPhone that you use, right? Pretty much everything that you have or own was invented by other people. Someone invented this shirt. Someone invented this chair that I'm sitting on, and the bed that's behind me, right? These were all things that were invented by other people. And so you can have an impact on the lives of other people, right? And the title of this video, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is, because the effect that you can have, the difference that you can make in the lives of other people, that is what's actually permanent. All these material things that I just showed you, right? All these things at some point they mess up, they rot, they get old, they get used, they have to get rid of, they get thrown away, right? But what actually can last, what's actually important, is the person that you become. It's the mindset that you have, the attitude that you operate with, the energy that you share, the love that you have for yourself, your family, and for all the human beings and walks of life, right? It's all of the intangibles that I mentioned earlier of your mind, of your imagination, your creativity, the love, the pride that you have, right? All of these things that were given to us for free. That is what's actually most important. And you can use that to have an effect on other people, to also influence people in that manner as well, right? Because each and every person, everyone's chasing happiness, because we were put here on earth to experience outrageous joy. That is our goal, right? So everyone is actively seeking happiness. So people are going to have desires, they're going to have needs, right? And a lot of times these needs, you know, they want these needs to be fulfilled by someone else. And your job, in the words of Jim Carrey, your job is to figure out what those needs are and figure out how you can utilize your talent in order to fulfill those needs, right? Jim Carrey decided to use acting and stand up as his way to fulfill the purpose, of freeing people of concern, because that is a need that people had. Because a lot of people are frustrated, a lot of people deal with concern, and they want to be happy, they want to be entertained. That's why when Jim Carrey releases a movie, there's people lined up willing to pay money to go watch his movie. Why? Because his movies are going to make them laugh. The movies are going to make them feel good. It's going to take their mind off of their problems and their reality, even if it's brief, and it's going to help someone, right? That's why Jim Carrey in that speech also said that, he's been able to do something that can help bring out the best version of other people when they meet him, right? Because when they see him, they smile, because they're happy and they're grateful and they're thankful for what he's done for them, for the memories that he's given them, for the moments that he was able to deliver because of his stand-up and because of him acting in movies, right? He was able to have a lasting impact in the lives of other people because of his talent and because of his purpose, right? Of freeing people of concern. Because people deal with problems and they have frustrations, and people are just chasing happiness. And he found a way that he can deliver that happiness, right? Through his purpose of freeing people of concern to help get them there, right? So that is what allowed Jim Carrey to reach the mountaintop. That is what allowed him to obtain material wealth in this life. Why? Because money represents value, and people spend their money on the things that they value. Well, guess what? What's the purpose for everyone here being on earth? The purpose for everyone being here is to experience outrageous joy. So we're all chasing after happiness, so we value happiness. And so if there's someone or something that's going to deliver us happiness, we are more than willing to spend our money for that, because that's going to deliver us what we need. That is going to essentially fulfill a need that we want met, right? He was able to do that. And he was able to, as a result, receive abundance in his lifetime. Why? Because the goal is to serve other people. Everything after you find your own happiness, peace, and joy, the focus becomes to serve other people. That is the game of life, because everything that's created and invented is to serve other people, right? The person that invented headphones probably invented headphones to solve a problem that they were dealing with themselves, but chances are if they were dealing with that problem, other people were dealing with that problem too, which is why they were able to invent the headphones and manufacture millions of headphones to sell it around the world. And that's how they were able to create wealth for themselves, right? Same idea with someone who invented the water bottle. I'm sure there was someone that had a problem of wanting to drink water but not always being able to have access to it. So if you invent a water bottle, now you can carry water with you and have access to it everywhere you go. So it could have been a problem that someone individually faced, that realized it's a problem that other people face, found a solution for it, and then guess what? They were able to, of course, impact the lives of other people and create material wealth for themselves. But the effect that you have on other people is always going to be the most valuable currency, because what's most important in this life are the intangibles. It's making a difference in someone, for their mind, for their heart, the way they think, the way they operate, right? If you give someone a valuable piece of wisdom or information or knowledge, that can completely change their trajectory for their life, as well as the trajectory of their generations moving forward, which is not necessarily something that a material thing would do, right? Like Jim Carrey, his purpose of freeing people of concern, that's not something tangible. You can't grab a concern. You can't hold right? Like you can't do it's not something that's tangible. And yet that purpose was a worthwhile purpose, because it delivered him everything he could have ever asked for. It delivered him a fulfilling, meaningful life. This is how it all works, right? You want to figure out what are the needs of other people, what is it they need, figure out what you're talented with, like what you're good at, and figure out how you can do that to, deliver other people what they need, right? For me, I'm passionate about personal development. I'm passionate about growth and improvement. Why? Because this is something that I can obsess over, because if I obsess over it, then that just means I'm getting better. That just means I'm improving. And I realize as well that there's a lot of people out there that also want to improve as well. There's a lot of people out there that want to bring out the best version of themselves so they can live a happier, more fulfilling life. There's people out there who just want to live their life to the fullest, and they're probably struggling right now. And I realize that I can fulfill that need because I can help other people on the way. And this is what's most meaningful, because this isn't something that's material. This isn't, right? Like, this is information that can truly change your life. And it's something that actually has a lasting impact. This is me delivering a positive impact to you watching the video, to viewers all around the world, right? And this is something that's actually valuable, because this isn't something material. This isn't something that just that can be replaced, right? Material things, they might seem expensive because of price tag, but they can easily be replaced whenever. But you can't be replaced. Same with me, same with everyone. So that is always going to be the most important investment, to invest in other people, to make a difference in the lives of other people. And as you do that, material wealth and blessings are going to make its way to you in accordance, right? Without fail. It's not maybe, it's not probably, it's not, right? Like it will happen. So have that be your focus, and just know that that is how the world all works, right? It becomes about serving other people. So put yourself in a position where you can use your talent to help do that, right? To somehow, some way solve people's problems, or you know, fulfill their needs, or somehow, some way deliver them happiness. And I promise you, everything that you could ever ask in his lifetime. Same with Jim Carrey, how he just did that, and he remained true to himself and true to that mission and that purpose, and he found himself at the mountaintop. Promise you, if you focus on that and do that as well, you will find yourself at the mountaintop as well. So just remember, once again, that money is not the most valuable currency. The most valuable currency is indeed the effect that you can have on other people, because that is what actually lasts, right? Money will always come and go, and money you can't take with you in the afterlife. Same with material things, right? All these things can be replaced, so they're not really that expensive and not really that important, right? But the person you grow into, the person that you can become, like the improvement that you can make, the happiness that you can help create for other people, right? That is what's important, and that's what actually lasts. So that the effect that you have on others is in fact the most valuable currency there is. So that wraps up the video. Enjoy the video. Do leave a like and subscribe as we're on the road to a million subscribers, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.